a lot of updates. A lot has happened in the last 9 days. Today is March 5th, and on February 24th is when the war broke out in the UK between Russia and Ukraine. This is something we have been hearing a lot about in the past couple of days, months, and weeks, and now is really coming into a reality. I'm pretty sure it surprised many people, and there's still a lot of people where this is not really a surprise. As the saying goes, rumors of wars could lead to war, and now this is what's happening in UK. All the rumors that you guys have been hearing about Russia, doing their military practice into Ukraine has now became a full invasion, and this invasion has really shocked the world, and a lot of what you hear in the media and what is going on as well. So we're gonna give you guys a little update about the war in UK. So Russia have invaded Ukraine, and they ceased to take over the Ukrainian government. So this has been the 9th day since the war broke out in UK, and the president of Ukraine is Vladimir Zelensky. So he is a man who has started his career as a showbiz and in comedy and became a president of Ukraine. Now, who is Putin? Putin is the one with the mindset saying that we can survive without USA, but can the USA survive without us? So a lot of this has a much deeper intent of why this war is happening. Does U.S. have anything to do with it? Will U.S. somehow get involved? And all of those things, what is going on currently in the war situation. So it started as a rumors, and now it became a full-blown war. And in current state that we are speaking, Russia have started bombing a lot of the cities in Ukraine, and also many civilians are fleeing their country to the neighbor country in Poland. So it's gone to the point where all the infrastructures, some of them were bombed, and including where the civilians are. And it's a very big barbaric act in what we're seeing today in 2022. The media are denouncing that this is Putin's war, as they've been going on about it, and to defend the Ukrainian soldiers or the Ukrainian civilians. And so this is what you'll hear a lot in the media, but the deep story of how this whole thing started goes all the way back and involving the NATO as well. Biden also announced that troops will not be sent to defend Ukraine in UK, but military aid will be sent over there so the Ukrainian people can defend themselves against Russia. And they are still waiting for those weapons as well. It's just a matter, will they be delivered so the Ukrainians can defend themselves? And there's been a lot of argument that, if the Ukrainians were harmed, that maybe the Russian military would have stayed back and would not fully invade the country as well. Some of the things that you'll hear about the NATO allies. So could this trigger China to invade Taiwan as well? Where did this lead to, and how dangerous is this for the countries that are not part of the NATO membership as well? And now we have countries like Louisiana. I can't pronounce the country very well, but some of those small countries that are not part of the NATO allies could highly be in danger as well, including Taiwan. So what message does this give to the global power leaders? It was like Russia, China, and USA as well. And how disturbing is this? There's a lot of videos going viral on social media, and with people getting hyped up about the war, and I would say some of them could be used from outdated information for people to hype up other people's emotions as well. So that is definitely something to be aware of as well with this war that is happening. Some of the things that have been identified as facts is the tank that ran over the car. If anybody see that circulating on social media, it was a tank that went out of control, and somehow by mistake ran over the car. But luckily the man survived, so that's the good news with that. And also with the Russian soldiers, as young as 19 and 20, not really quite understanding why they are even in Ukraine. They have been asked, and they just said, we're not really sure why we're here, because in the beginning, all they were doing was military practice. They did not expect that they would go to war. And so this is leading the Russian soldiers into food shortage and fuel as well. And with the Ukrainian fighting back, there also has been inspiring stories in how they are fighting back without all the weapons that they were supposed to receive. With some of the strategies like removing signs, all the road construction companies removing signs and switching them, trying to redirect the Russian soldiers to go this direction, and putting FU signs for the Russian soldiers. So those are some of the things that have been taught during this war as well. And as interesting as this war gets, it's 2022, and it is a very developing time of our life. So could this war get bigger? Is this the beginning of a Cold War? Or is it going to die off? Or is this generation going to say, you know what, forget it. We're not going to fight this war because there's no point of it. There's really no point of fighting a war at this time. Because a lot of it could have lead to whatever the global leaders have between them. But it's starting to show that there is a real problem behind the scene with the global leaders. And the citizens don't want to fight this war. No one wants this war. But the global leaders have their own issues, and they are taking it to a whole different level. So now the new trending is for the Third World War. And it is trending on Twitter at this moment. So where does that lead to at this point? Will this lead to a much bigger war, which would not be good at all, because about 7 countries in the world have nuclear power weapons. And if any of those get involved, it could get really ugly for the humanity and could take all of us back to doomsday. So these are some of the attentions that have really been brought up with this war. So we don't know what to expect or what is to come, whether it's going to die off or it's going to involve other countries like China and USA as well, which some are already saying it did kind of involve USA as far as we go. That is the update I want to give you all about the Ukraine-Russian war going on right now in the UK. And prayer to all of the lives that are struggling right now in the bordering countries as refugees as well. And not only that, now going on to what is going on in Africa and some of the African students that are stranded in the UK that are trying to cross over in Poland. So there has been numerous claims that they are not given the equal right to cross over to the border, and that they are being left stranded. And this left a lot of us questions that where are the African leaders to help get their people out of the country or to evacuate them and bring them back into their own country, or what is going to happen, what they have to say about that. One man, Professor Lumumba, I believe he's from Kenya, have really spoke out a lot about the changes that needs to happen in Africa. And he was one of the leaders that have raised up that question as well. So it's definitely a good start in how we can help our people in crisis situations like this now. And this could all just be a wake-up call. So now, what's been happening in the last couple months with coups across Africa? Why have they been becoming more frequent? And the military are taking over a lot of, the leadership in Africa, and many leaders are resigning as well. So could this be a new change for Africa? Could this be finally the people are stepping up, trying to fight the leadership or try to change the system? Or just finally realizing that we need to be an independent and have our own rulers or our own rules and regulations where we could run our countries more peacefully and steady. Not only that, with all the resources in Africa and the history of the colonialism, have we really become independent, or are we still fighting for independence of the African countries there in the motherland? And today we have a guest that is going to join us on this topic, on this debate as well. And I will be asking some of the questions, and you guys will hear some of his thoughts and his input as well. This is something we touched on last week, where we give you guys a brief introduction about it. So today we're just going to rise up the topic and try to figure out what is really going on in Africa. This is something a lot of the youth could, understand too as well. So let's welcome on Pablo.
Yes, I'm still here.
How are you?
I'm fine, my sister.
Yeah. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today. It has been a pleasure. Yes. So,
Thank you again.
Yeah, to get to the point, give us a brief introduction of what do you feel like is going on in Africa with all of the coups that are becoming more frequent, and why are they happening? At least a brief introduction, and then we'll get more into the points.
Well, what happened today in Africa, specifically in the West Zone and the West Part and West Africa specifically, is a revolution. The French people been colonized the 15th country in Africa where they speak French. Today, in this 21st century, with the new tech, with the new things, so things is a little bit much different than before. And in 1960, most of the African country in Africa, specifically the West Africans, have their personal independence. So the French still have their 10 fingers to tell the president, our leader, what to do or what exactly they have to do to run the population, because there's still the money, gold, mines, and some other things in Africa. So in Africa, the real issue is you have some crew, some certain people who took the money off the population. I'm going to give you one simple example. In America, if you're part of the Senate, you're a governor, either way you're president or you're vice president, you have your personal stuff. If you take one time, you have to explain to the population that you run why you take this time, why you take this money for. Remember that. People pay the tax, so that's not your money. So you have to explain specifically what you're going to do when you have the money of the people. We, it's us, we are the people. So in Africa, people do what they want to do. The French people, but they're stealing. They have a big company, like the guy by the name of Bolloré. He abusing of his power. He disrespect the contract. They did a lot of many things. So today in Africa, people are so tired of that. 40, 50 years, people are so tired of that. They decide to change the new politics in Africa, probably the old politics, and to bring the new blood, the new young people, youth people, to change a lot of things in Africa. To say, we are so tired. Ain't nobody gonna come from outside to tell us how to run our country. We can have a partnership, but we have to respect what exactly we say, what exactly we sign in the paper. If we sign a contract, if it's 80%, we give 40% as a country. You guys give 40%, 50-50. Both parties gonna be happy. Both parties gonna be able to continue to do the business, because at least we respect what we say and we respect what we sign in the contract. So today, I'm more than happy because a lot of young people, including myself, we up. And we truly, completely understand what's going on right now, and it's got to stop. That's why it was a coup d'etat happened in Mali. That's why it was a coup d'etat happened, or what you call, in Guinea-Conakry, a country close to Mali too as well, very close to Mali. That's why a coup d'etat happened, what you call, in Burkina Faso. A country is very close to Mali, Ivory Coast, and Guinea as well. Guinea-Conakry to be more specifically. That's it. So we want to protect the freedom of right. We want to protect our young democracy. We want to protect our freedom of speech, and we also want to explain to the earth, to the planet, that when you are president of the country, your first thing you have to do, your first responsibility, is to secure the whole population. When you are president, is to secure the money of the people that you run, that the country that you run. It's not for stealing the money. Go to the airplane, sit on the first class, come up here, sleep in a 5-star hotel, spend the money, and now explain to the populations what exactly your cabinet going to do with the money. You have to explain that to people. We have to know where's this money going. We have to know. We signed a contract with the United States. Absolutely. We have to know everything. However, that's not the money of the government. It's the money of the people. You know, but in Africa, when they're president, they're abusing of that. And also, you got some president who spent 30, 40, 50 years on the power, like a country like Cameroon. The guy over there, his name is Paul Biya. He has been on the power more than 40 years. Today, he's 85 years old. He can't even walk. He has an issue.
That's one thing we recognize too. Yeah, staying in power for so many years.
Absolutely. This guy have been on the power since between 1982. It was Aijo. Since Aijo passed away, he is the second person who have been on the president until today. He have been on the president between 1982 or 1983 until today. Today is the 2022, 21st century. This man still runs this country. It's unbelievable. It's not acceptable. So it's got to stop.
So let's go back to some of the two things I captured from what you said. So freedom is one of the biggest fight for a long time in Africa. When you mentioned earlier, you know, freedom of rights and democracy. And then also leaders staying in power for a very, very long time.
Long period of time.
Which leads to students that are graduating or have a degree, they don't get an opportunity to show themselves or to at least, you know, be a part of it. So for the freedom of rights and democracy, are people willing to sacrifice their life at this point?
Right.
Because I think that's one of the things. Because when I talk to people in Africa and I ask them, and I said, you guys have to stand up. You know, stand up against stand up against the leader. And,
your government. Yeah.
Yeah, and speak up. But some of them will say, you know, anytime if you try to speak up, they will send the military and they kill you, and
you'll tell your family too as well. So that's why
they'll do that. So how are they fighting that now? I mean, are people just willing to say, you know what, that's enough, I don't care,
good question. That is a good question. You know, today, like I was explaining to you a little bit, I did a little tour to explain that briefly to you. You know, we have a young democracy. We want to protect that too as well. It's not like in the United States you have a 200 of democracy. You can't say what you want to say. You can't write it down on a letter sent to your government or to your governor or to the president and express yourself. But today, I think's gone. We got a new social platform: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and
so that's helping a little bit more.
Right. So even if it's today people are feel so insecure and safe, they can express themselves. Not necessarily to see their face, but they can't do the cover or speak themselves without, you know, see their face or explain some sort of thing, and the social media publish it, post it, and everybody can see it. So that's why
So the
today,
more we speak up on social media, that could really help humiliate the leaders to react.
absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
yeah, so the
So
world can
it's
see
pretty
that.
much everything they're doing today, we knows. Because, like, let's say, for example, if I know you're from Kenya,
Hmm.
explain that to me what this government doing in Kenya. You're gonna write it down. Well, there's no freedom of speech, or people, get killed because we talk about this government.
Yeah.
This person can go easily to the social media, post it, publish it.
Hmm.
We see it, and it's not only person, it's everybody, the whole planet. So now the media from here or France or any country take that very seriously. They're going directly to that country just to find out what's going on. There's
Hmm.
freedom of speech or democracy, some certain thing, or concerning specifically the citizens of this country. It's not good. What's going on? So the human right go out there to find what's going on and talk to the minister specific of the cabinet, the members close, the member of the minister close to the president. So today we have a new tech. I say things go. We can speak up, like you say. We can say many things. We can say a lot of things. So just to bring people to see
Hmm.
to see what's going on and have people to really pay attention to what happened in our continent today in Africa. So that's a good thing. But to answer more your question in the second part, that is true. They're
Yeah.
scared. Some of them, some certain people, are scared because they feel like they know them. They can't take that much kind of type of responsibility. And in the neighborhood, they know me. If I say something regarding or against this government, the next day I'm not gonna be here. They might gonna bring a military people to kill me and shoot me and my family. So I rather to be quiet, not say anything, but I already know what's going on. So you got some certain people like that. They're still scared. They still feel like insecure. They're still unsafe because people know them already in their neighborhood. So they have a family. So they can't talk too much about that because they don't want to have no soldier to come kill them because their
Yeah.
life's gonna be in danger. That is also true. Until today, it's still happening in Africa. But we'll try to tell them. But I understand them. It's not easy. It's not easy when you're thinking you got a family to around to pay bills to bring them something to eat on the table. Sometimes the only option that you have, you know what? Let me shut up. I don't have nothing to say.
Hmm.
So,
I remember,
this is yeah,
yeah, let me step in for a second. I
right,
remember interviewing a young man who was fighting for the humanity in Sudan. Um, and he was speaking in Arabic, but a lot of what he was saying, he did not want it to be on social media because he was afraid of what the government
that's
might
right.
react towards him.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and from there, I understood after he explained it, because at first I didn't really understand, and I said, why would you not want it on social media if we're trying to address this change or speak up about it? Um, but then the fear, I could start to hear the fear, behind his voice, and I said, you know what? I think this battle is going to involve all of us. So, and I feel like, us in the Western world, is also our duty to help the civilians back home to speak up
Right,
for them as well. Or like they tell us their story of what's going on back home, and then we become the voice for them as well. Um,
right.
so do you think that's really helping them a lot too as well? Because I remember hearing stuff about the coup that they don't want Western influences, or they think that the Western influences are the ones destroying the democracy in Africa.
Right. Well, I think that with the coup d'etat, which is we all know is not good. But sometimes you have to ask yourself a question: what is a coup d'etat?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the purpose, or specifically, reason why people are doing the coup d'etat today, because it's very simple. It's not complicated to understand that. It's very simple. Look at you, and you look it down. It's very simple. People are so tired that the money
Oh, I bet.
that have the government have
Mm.
is one crew, certain people. who has the money, stealing the money. They have their kids, they send them to France, to Italy, to Germany, to United States to have a better life, and they pay for their school. They're driving expensive luxury car.
Yes.
And the majority of the population are dying, don't have a meal to eat at least 2 or 3 times a day. Now you think about it.
It definitely affects us a lot because we're taking care of family. We're paying a lot of things over there too as well.
Yeah, you think about it. You got a family.
Mm-hmm.
Can't even provide for their kids at home.
Yeah.
You got your wife, and you're the only person who got a job. How you gonna do that? Sometimes you don't even have it. You gotta struggle harder to get money. You gotta go outside.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the main problems today in Africa. And when you see those people, like I said, a guy like Paul Biya, the president of Cameroon, he's one of the rich person in Africa. He has been in the power for 40 years, even police. This man still run this country. But Cameroon is poor. People live in Cameroon less than $1 a day. So if you do your math, you do 40 years with this guy regime and power. What exactly he did for the Cameroonian people, and what's the money go? And we talk about millions and millions of people. So when people look at those kind of things, those kind of issue, the conflict, a problem, they don't have no option to say, you know what? We at the military of this country, our job is to make sure this population, number one, gets safe. Number two, we hear their voice. Number three, we have our family and those population. So our job is probably to change and then, do the best we can do. We're going to start everything new, refresh everything, start a new election. Whoever wins is a president. We're going to go.
I really hope they pass through it because from what I am seeing so far, like I'm going to get back to the one about the power. Is that the people in Africa have been weakened, I feel like the people are becoming weak. Like what are the other way, that we can even do this, because even the leaders themselves, with them holding on to so much power and so much money and not caring about the people of their own country, and every time they try to fight back or they want to fight back, then military gets sent towards them. So it's like a land of no mercy whatsoever. My question leading to that is, for the leaders to be in power forever, how do you feel that will transform? Will this situation, will everything all have to fall to dust before it can get back up? Or what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, for example, look at what happened in Ivory Coast. Alessandro Ouattara, he violated the Constitution. He's not even supposed to be a president, but he's still there. He violated, and he abusing of his power right now to corrupt some military people. So if you talk bad about him, you say, okay, go and kill this family. So to better answer your question, I think, like I just said, with this new tech, a lot of things gonna change. And the coup d'etat, I mean, it's like I said, it's a specific reason why people are doing that. So the military people, there for the population, because they're tired. To see people suffering, to see people will not have food, to see, the complaint of the people, to see every time, the population, not supposed to live in a decent life. So at some point, the military feel like we got to do something to save those people. We are the military. We have been training for that. If we don't do nothing, guess what? They're still going to continue forever.
Yes. And that's what we're afraid of.
Right. Yeah. So the coup d'etat and Mali and Burkina Faso and also and Guinea Conakry is the reason when those people that took the power, the first statement they make, those one of the things that I mentioned that to you. After they're here, they're gonna do what they have to do, and they gotta go back to their base. At least they want to make sure things are changed. That when you're a president, you're not a president for yourself. You're here to serving the people, to serve the people, not you, your crew, your family, or your circle. It's unacceptable. This is the 21st century. It's got to stop. It's got to change. So I say thanks to them. At least people can stand up to the talk and say what they feel, say what they want to say, and express themselves. At least they can say that today. So I'm very happy that it happened.
Bravery,
yeah, if you was looking down the news too, the population, like I said, the population, the people, we are the population. Everybody was jumping, everybody was smiling, everybody was excited. It was a boom, it was a party, because you know why? People are tired now, they're happy, they're hopefully things gonna change. And then we walking down right now.
With the leader resigning, because in some countries the leaders have resigns.
Yes.
Is that the sign that the coup is working, or how does that connect?
It's a sign of the coup working. When the coup d'etat happened in Burkina Faso, for example, they told him he got to resign. Mm-hmm. We are so tired to see our people crying. You're president of this country. Your first job is to save people. They're killing people. They're attacking people in some village. The terrorists. So they're tired. You are the president or you're not the president. And you got your money, you're stealing the money. So it's every day. The village in Burkina Faso, the terrorists, the people will destroy a village, burning a village, and impose the Islam to people. You gotta be a Muslim. You're not a Muslim, they kill you, they shoot you, or they kill your whole family. So, like the guy was explaining to the media, the only reason why they did that coup because also people was tired to cry all the time. Yeah. So if you can't do the job, we as a military, we can't resolve that issue immediately. See what I'm saying? Just to make sure the country is safe. So, they ask him to resign. It's not low. It's not going to be able to run this country anymore. They say, if you want to resign, sign the paper to say you're not a president anymore, we're cool with you. We're going to make sure you save you, your family, and then we're going to run this country until, a new president comes. But for this moment, we are so tired. People make a complaint about you all the time, and the Minister of Defense don't do anything about it. So we ask you, just to leave the power, just make sure you sign officially, and then you're not going to run this country. This is exactly what happened. He accepted. He signed the paper for. I'm not going to run this country again. Mm-hmm. So, until for now, those the people. The guy who did the coup d'etat, his name is Paul. I forgot his last name. He's the one with his people today in Burkina Faso who run the country. So when they took the power, they explained what's the reason why they did a coup d'etat. So until a civilian comes to take the power, but for now they run this country.
Wow, that is massive there. Back to something you mentioned earlier about money being taken out of the population. And so, because there's a saying that some of the leaders are selected by the outsider, like France and U.S.
That's one of
well.
Sure. That's one of the reasons in Mali, the northern Mali, they call the French people. Because after they kill what you call Mohammed Gaddafi, the band of Al-Qaeda become to be in the region of West Africa. So a country like Mali, 90% of the population are Muslim. So the majority of the people out there, they're Muslim. So they extremely believe in Islam. Something like Senegal. 90% of the people in Senegal, they're Muslim. So Mali is a country close to Algeria. It's one of the big, huge country in Africa. It's even bigger than France, twice bigger than France. So, and the north of Mali, um, Gao, Kidal, Timbuktu, that's the province, the three names that I just say to you, it's one of the biggest province in Mali. So those province, the French, they call the French people to help them. The French army have been there for almost 10 years. And the Malian finally realized that the French army got a deal and was a partnership with the members, tough members, one of the big members, influence members of the movement of Al Qaeda. Because 10 years they have been in Mali. They're still killing people. They will stock the oil from the Mali, like, the premium. They will stick that one. I don't think they have oil out there, but they have gold. They have a diamond. Mali is a very rich country with a lot of resources they have. So that the French army will stock this money to finance the member of the Al Qaeda, so they can stay over there to keep stealing the money of the the Malian people. Remember that Mali got a lot of gold. 1 pound of gold, you pounds at a bank, you're good, you're rich. That's money right there. 1 pound of that gold. You go in the bank, you pound the pounds, they'll tell you how much it costs. Man, your life's changed completely. So the French people and the Malian government got a evidence about everything I'm telling you, element, evidence, everything. They didn't know that before until they found out what's really going on. The French people have been stealing, French army have been stealing more than 9 tons of gold. They took that, they put it in a helicopter straight, they transferred that to the country close to Mali. They get another airplane, they put that in the airplane straight up to France. Did you know that in France today, they have specifically a place, they have a lot of gold stealing from Africa.
Wow.
This is how they pay their, their people.
So my question to that, with all the coup happening in Africa,
the Malians finding out what's going on, that the French people are not here to protect them, but they're here because they have a deal with some members of Al Qaeda. So this government, Assimi Goïta government, the new president, the new president of Mali, he have been training in Russia too as well, for your information. So he said, listen, we as a country, there's a lot of things you guys did. 10 years, you guys can't save us. People still dying. The Al Qaeda come from Algeria. They come from Mauritania. And they still destroy our village. Yeah. They're still going on. And people get shot. They get killed. After 10 years, we don't think to have you guys here anymore. Because it look like we pay you guys for our safety. But apparently we're wasting money to give to the French army. We have been going back to that for a long time. So it look like we spending money on you guys and we don't get no results. So we're gonna try another country. We're gonna deal with the Russia. Definitely. So when the French people heard that, they're dealing with Russia, they're about to sign a contract to have the Russian army to protect them. Oh, that was, the French people. And 2 weeks ago, this new president, Assimi Goïta, told the French people army, you got 2 weeks to leave this country. Other than that, we don't have nothing to say. So he told them to leave. So the French people are extremely mad with the Malian government, including the president. Why did he tell them to leave and go dealing with the Russian army? So it's a big issue. It's a beef right now between France and the Malian government. And he responded to them very simply. You see, as a president who run
Sorry
this
to cut you
country,
off. I'd
mhm,
like to get more into that topic because that's going to be my next. Is how does
right,
the Western world gets involved, and where does that lead to with the coup that is happening in Africa as well? But
mhm,
since we're pretty much out of time, so
right,
we're going to continue this topic again next week, and then yes, I
right,
have the part two of it as well. Because I think
right,
with what is happening now in Africa, we do kind of get a glimpse of idea how serious it really is, and that there is
right,
no stopping after this point. Um,
right,
so it leads on to all the other things that are happening on around the world. Even with like Russia and Ukraine and China being involved in Africa as well. How does those take place with the coups that are happening in Africa as well? And also wondering, are they still are some of the Africa countries still under colonialism based on the resources and the materials in Africa, even though they're not, ruling the country anymore like they did in the colonial days. And also the leaders that are selected by them, where do they go and how do they get rid of them? Do they fight on their behalf? Is that dominating the people as well? Because it is a huge fight on the African civilians. It's very, very heavy. Um, Definitely sounds a lot more heavier than any other countries I've heard, because you're not only
mhm.
fighting African leaders as well, but you're also fighting the outsider that have been
Yeah,
supporting them,
and the whole system
Yeah,
too. The whole system
the
got to
whole
change
system.
completely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you so much. So we have come towards the end, and yeah, these are the things I want to continue on our next Saturday again,
Right.
because I think the more information we can get out of this, the more we can understand and see how we can help from here fight the battle back home as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me too as well. It was a pleasure to be on your show too, sister.
Thank you. All right, you guys. That was Pablo on his input on the military coup going on in Africa. It is still happening and it's getting more and more intense, especially with everything that is happening around the world. So we're going to continue this topic. Stay tuned next Saturday here at Tempo Africa TV on Ellen Yamal Talk Show
Yes, ma'am.
at 3 o'clock. So have a wonderful night.